website, but
Okay.
none of that was ever done by my lawyer.
Okay, and that's the case, folks. We're right here now.
There's another trust account.
Here's where he has taken. What does it say under trust accounts over there? Look up trust accounts and see what's the abuse of. It should be right there. Underneath there should be attorney trust accounts. It should
Okay,
be.
well, Mr. Riddle had said that to the grievance author that I signed the check. How come I do have this check never signed?
Yeah. See.
Here's another thing that he lies on the oath, saying that I agree with him to receive a check from the trust account that he received on the 10th, 2505. He sent me the check of the trust account on the 11/10/05 minus his own personal fee that I never saw a bill for, saying that I agree with it. But I still have the check, and the check was made to Mr. William Riddle, Esquire, for Josiane Serra. Never saw that check, never see that check, never signed that check. And then again, he lied to the grievance commission, saying that I agree with him and signed, endorsed that check.
And all these documents were furnished to the
furnished
furnished all the documents to the
all
attorney.
documents were signed by the grievance commission on all registered mail directly to Dolores Riddle, directly to the investigator Mr. Paraguay, showing how is it that I was able to come up with all these documents, and then after 7 months of that investigation, there was not enough evidence to implicate Mr. Riddle in my property.
Well, I'd have to say that just using common sense, based on the hearing, the evidence I've heard today, I am appalled that what you've went through. And
I was told that I have a civil action. I called many law firms in Baltimore, and they're telling me that it's all too complicated because it's involving judges,
yes,
lawyers, bank that gives him, he does his own settlement.
yeah. So
The December 9th, he went to the bank and done settlement. That's the only loan against $285,000. On December 20, Mr. Riddle goes and register in court another indemnity deed of trust with Riddle Holding LLC as the grantor and Sunday Drive as the borrower.
yeah.
And that he was not involved in my case, but when the case are done and over as December the 15th, it's in records in court that he gave his own personal property as indemnity deed of trust to get the $285,000 that he borrowed from the bank.
And
He's
he also he's an officer of the bank, is he not?
That he's an officer, he's represent all the
He's
foreclosure.
the bank's attorney.
Collusion 101. Collusion 101. So, you know,
He received funds for representation. Of a client, he received funds for as a settlement attorney, and he received funds for the auction and the personal property division. So he triple dipped again on her case.
Well, as you can see, when he gave me the money from the bank, from the settlement of the house, it came 3 months afterwards because I had to fight in court because I never saw even the paper from the court when the other money is going to be distributed.
oh, this is horrible, folks.
And it comes from his real estate settlement, William Riddle Holding Settlement Account. That's what paid my house. That he was never involved with my house.
Well,
And
Judge-
again, I'm telling you, it's all over. I even foot marketed for the grievance commission, but they tell me again, go get yourself another lawyer.
well, that's exactly what it is. And what do you want? They're going to tell you to go get another crooked lawyer when they won't do anything about the ones that are already robbed you?
Well, I don't have
Why
no money.
why are the people of the state of Maryland being forced to pay millions of dollars a year to victims compensate. I mean to run the victims compensation board with the state of Maryland, which they distribute nothing. Nothing gets distributed. It's just it's a slush fund for the lawyers and the judges in the court. We've got a $10 million judicial training center down, probably $25 million judicial training center that just opened up in Annapolis. We've got the Attorney Grievance Committee just moved out of one building into another building. You know, they do nothing. Even the Capitol News Service did a story 2 weeks ago on how little they actually do. Nobody ever gets sanctioned. So, Josie, I feel sorry for you that you're having to go through this.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. I like to understand why is it that Martha Stewart got put in jail for lying, for perjury, because she was lying on the oath. But how is it that this lawyer gets away with all these lies?
Well,
on the oath.
And that's exactly the disparity. And Martha Stewart, the reason they put her in jail is A, she was a woman, and B, they wanted to take the heat off of all of George Bush's friends who were being locked up at the same time. Once they focused on her, okay, and they railroaded her. You know, I've got Congressman Al Wynn on videotape in the last debate standing up before an audience and telling the audience that, yes, George W. Bush lied to all the members of the House. He lied to the members of the Congress about the war in Iraq and everything else involved in it. But, you know, I mean, I asked him point blank, I said, you know, Congressman Wynn, you've just stated on the record. Would you please tell the audience exactly what action you and the Congress of the United States took to bring this to justice, especially in light of the fact that the Congress just impeached the president in the last term for lying about having an affair. And I said, we're losing lives over there left and right. Could you please? And his answer was, well, Mr. McDermott, we have a code of ethics, and we talked it over in the House, and we felt it wouldn't be best for the party's interest. You're not there, Congressman, for the party's interest. You're there to represent the people of the United States.
There's nobody to represent
and there's
the people.
Nobody to represent you. There's nobody to represent these other people over here today. And is this your affidavit, Josie?
Yes, it is.
And I am taking, you want to read it into the record? I am taking this affidavit to the FBI and to the Justice Department Civil Rights Division. Once again, I'll be taking it there on January 7th, 2008, asking for a full-fledged criminal investigation into the operation of the Cecil County court system, and how this one lawyer, he could not do this without the help of other attorneys. It can't happen without the collusion by and between the officers of the court, officers of the bar council, and officers of the banks that he's involved with. So I think that there's enough evidence here that we can ask for a grand jury investigation into what's happened to you, the people who were here today and are on record. Now, I need you to read that because you are in fear of your life.
Oh, yes.
How many times since you started this litigation do you feel your life has been threatened?
A couple times. When I was at the apartment, I used to put big table in front of the door. I even called the FBI in Delaware one time because I was followed. And Mr. Riddle's employees are not somebody that you really like to be around too much. They stole material out of my own personal house.
They stole your furniture out of your own house?
Furniture while he was going to the auction, yes, that's correct. Then,
what right did they have? You can't auction off personal effects.
To back up just a tiny bit, she had an attorney before Mr. Riddle, and he dismissed her as saying she was too emotional. He couldn't handle the case for her no longer after she paid him a $3,000 retainer. So he gave her the name of another attorney, which happened to be Mr. Riddle. So she went to him and trusted him. She had been temporarily kicked out of her home for 48 hours by the court, pending an investigation because her husband went and filed an emergency restraining. Oh, well,
No.
an emergency motion.
Okay.
And
Divorce.
so she was put out of her home for 48 hours. In that time, she was never back in that home after she was put out for 48 hours until the auction. Just before the auction, she was never allowed to get her personal belongings, which included her clothes, her winter clothes, her summer clothes, necessities that and old heritage heirlooms that
She got
were left
sold
in
at
the
the
home,
auction.
pictures, her son's belongings and pictures that were memorabilia for her. She was never once allowed back in that home after Mr. Riddle telling her over and over again, okay, I'll get you in there. And she kept telling him that her husband was destroying the property deliberately. He didn't work, he laid around, and he did not do any maintenance to the home. He let leaks go unattended. He let the windows that seals had leaked, he just let them fall apart. He let the deck fall apart. He did not maintain the property landscaping at all. It actually is in a very prominent neighborhood, very upscale, and the yard itself would have looked like it was condemned by the time he was done with it. But yet, Mr. Riddle, the whole entire 3.5 years, she would come in from time to time, upset, and say, when am I going to be allowed in there to get my personal belongings? Just calm down, I'll get you in there next week. Just calm down, I'll get you in. We'll file something, I'll get you in there. He never once did that for her. He also promised that he would go and videotape the inside of the home. He never did that for her. The morning of the auction, he showed up late. He showed up with a cashier's check. If you look at the documents, he's the one that supplied the cashier's check to buy the property. However, the grievance commission said that was not a problem because he
Loaned
the money to his friend who was an investor that bought the property, who in turn said he was the owner of Sunday Drive LLC, who in turn, the week court went through,
That's the deal with the auction.
they went to Baltimore and changed. And none of that took place.
Was Sunday Morning LLC even licensed to do business at that time? Have you checked into that?
Yes.
Yes, they were
When were
licensed,
they
but they were
incorporated?
licensed under Will Riddle alone.
Okay, that's it. That's the only person
When
you
the
got.
grievance commission came in and investigated it, the first questions they had was, who is Sunday Drive LLC? Who is Deanie Gutman? Because by that time, he had put his mother, Deanie Gutman,
Makes no
on.
difference by that time.
And the words out of their mouth was, he's lied to us already, we don't trust him, because he told us he had no interest in the Sunday Drive LLC, and here we find out he's the managing member and resident agent.
You were talking right with the members of the Maryland.
Oh, yeah, the
Well,
investigator, the main investigator.
And see, this is all suppressed by Marvin Hirschman, who is absolutely the biggest enemy of the people of the state of Maryland we could ever have. A do-nothing bureaucrat whose only thing is to help the gangsters strip the assets from the state of Maryland. So, and here's the checks. Anybody wants evidence that these are in the court record. These are not documents that are just here. These are in the court records for everybody to see. Once
What
again,
did it
Josie.
say? 5,000 William Riddle and the straw man Warren, Kirkpatrick Brumfield.
Yeah. So.
But he didn't have no interest, and once they put it there, once they switched it to Sunday Drive, which was stamped by the judge on December the 9th.
What's that check there? That's not Sunday Drive LLC there?
That's for Sunday Drive LLC.
Okay.
No, that's just a cashier's check.
Yeah.
That's the check that was.
Can you imagine the absurdity of losing your home and having your lawyer standing there with his own personal certified check to buy it, and then have the gall, the audacity to send you a $7,000 bill?
Well, he had her, the same thing with Charlie, where he preoccupied Charlie. he had her preoccupied the day of the auction so that she wouldn't know what was going on with the auctioneer. The auctioneer was also involved in this.
Yeah. Well, they always are. They always are.
He had her preoccupied with Kurt Brumfield and told her he was the investor buying the property to take him around and show him
That's
the
what
property.
the affidavit.
This is the affidavit of
The sale.
the sale right here. And so,
And it's got Mr. Kurt Brumfield or and a sign. The check was Mr. Riddle's check.
yes. So,
And they said that he didn't do anything wrong by that because he can loan anybody money.
well, I've got news for you. That's what happened with the group of people out above who stole my business. The corporate attorney who was representing my partnership actually has the title to my house now.
Here it is. Here's December 9th when he asked a judge to please petition praise that his honorable court substituting Sunday Drive LLC as the purchaser of the place instead of Kurt Brumfield. That was approved by the judge at court on December 9th, 2005.
Okay.
And on December 14 and 15, we went to court for the disbursement of the money.
To explain this, the reason he had to transfer it to Sunday Drive from Kurt Brumfield was because Kurt Brumfield had no money and the bank would not fund him the money for the mortgage.
Well, you have a legal recourse against Brumfield, the judge,
The auctioneer.
the auctioneer. You have a recourse under Title 19 of our Constitution, and I strongly advise you to move forward with it. And you know.
Emotionally, he destroyed me.
Well, mostly they destroyed you financially. They
Oh,
destroyed
everything. My son lost everything. His childhood.
Well, you
all
lost
the content of the house.
not only that, you've lost heirlooms of your family that you can never be replaced.
I was never. They went to an auction. I was not allowed to get even my father's pictures. I just got them this year. My son brought them back home.
Well,
Here's where Mr. Riddle did settlement on December 9th at Cecil Federal Bank under Sunday Drive LLC. As you can see, signed Agent William Riddle. Sunday Drive LLC, the address where he's opened up the LLC.
Okay. Well, it's time to go. I've got a long way home. I want to thank you and for bringing me up and introducing me to this wonderful group of people, great Americans who are not afraid to stand up for their rights and liberties. And to everybody out there in the audience, you think that this can't happen to you. Think again. It's happening every day. These documents, every taxpayer in the state of Maryland is having to pay huge funds to fund a corrupt judicial system that allows corporate lawyers to abuse the system and to wear them down, and hopefully they wanted you to have a heart attack and die.
Oh, they already told me
They
that.
want me dead more than anybody you can possibly imagine. Sam, you're the same way. They want us to get depressed and to go out and blow our heads off, or to do something illegally so that they can throw us into jail and say, well, yeah, he was a crook anyhow. Please do not do anything like that. We need to stick together and unify as a group, and we need to make sure that we don't surrender our constitutional rights to any crook, whether he wears a black robe, a red robe, or whatever, and fight. That's all I can say. Josie, God bless. I'm sorry to hear about your story, but
It's me and many others that probably never came forward because they didn't know.
read your affidavit into the record for the last time, because that is going to the FBI.
I, Josie and Sarah, hereby certify that this affidavit of personal protection is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. With this affidavit, I am personally attesting that I am in fear for my life and well-being due to my public representation of the fact and issue surrounding this open-air documentary of unethical and illegal behavior of the judicial system in Cecil County, Maryland. And I would like to add that I became an American citizen in in the year 2002, and was very proud to be an American citizen. But I do, at this time, do not believe in the justice any longer.
Josie, God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless. And we will, once again, George McDermott here, signing off. This is the end of program number 5. These will all be furnished to the FBI and to Justice Department. And I've given the victims, will be given a copy to copy as many copies as, and distribute to whoever they want under my press pass with the Washington Police right here at media for secretjustice.com news. These stories have to get out. They cannot be edited. They cannot be dropped down. Every word is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. And I'm signing off for the last time from the... No, this won't be the last time. I'll be up many more times to follow up on this, because this is going to be a large case. So just once again signing off from the land of the scam and the home of the fraud, Cecil County, Maryland.